Well, I have a couple questions to ask you. Do you just love event planning and maybe want to get started in this career, but you're not sure if it's right for you? Or maybe you've been in it for a little while and you just want to see if you're cut out for it? Well, by the end of this video, you'll know because it's going to highlight whether this career is going to light you up or if you need to do anything to make changes in yourself because you see some of these signs. So, we're going to talk about it and get into it today. We're going to dive deep. But before we do, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Naomi Tucker. I'm an event coach and strategist, and for over 30 years in event planning, I have planned many events in many places and in so many ways. From trainings to conventions, awards banquets, incentive programs, I've led other planners too, as well, and have seen so much and seen them have so much on their plate. And what I can say is that I've seen and led planners that either knocked it out of the park or simply were not cut out for it. I mean, they possibly thought they were, but they weren't. So sorry to say that, but sometimes you need to know if you're cut out for a thing before you go all in to that thing, or perhaps you want to know if you still have what it takes to stick with this for the long haul. So that is what I'm here to do today. I am giving you 8 warning signs that you can see if event planning is for you or if it isn't for you. And hopefully this is going to help you to see if the industry is for you or if this is where you need to be. So if I'm explaining these and it's sounding good to you, go ahead and talk to me. Go into chat and just let me know that you're here. Also, tell me, what kind of planner are you? Do you plan weddings? Do you plan seminars, corporate events? How is this resonating for you? And then if you've been in the industry for a while, let me know. Is there anything missing that you have to let somebody know that they need to hear? Maybe there's this one thing I didn't go over, but you're like, they need to hear this. Go ahead and put that into the comments. So I'm excited to share with you. So, and let me know where you're listening in from. I would love to see that too in the comments. So go ahead and go crazy in the comments. So my first one for you. So this is the first warning sign that you can see if event planning is for you, is that you're unable to work under pressure. If you find that having a lot of pressure on you is definitely something that you cannot handle, then that means that perhaps the industry is not for you. Well, and this means that in event planning, we have to manage competing demands for others. We have clients, we have vendors, we have our partners in different leadership. And often that pressure is going to come to you in many different forms. In one way, it's basically having, champagne on a budget that just is a beer budget, right? It comes from the budget limitations. It comes from big visions, going ahead and trying to come up against those budget limitations, right? Or vice versa. So many times we're planning extravagant events, but our clients do not have the budget, or perhaps they do have the budget and there are certain limitations. There's so many different dynamic pressures that happen in event planning, and it can require tough conversations to align those expectations. So you have to be a person that definitely can work under pressure, and you have to be able to align the expectations early in your events and manage that pressure with proper communication. Very, very easy to say, but often difficult to do, because we want to have these really great events for our clients and customers, but sometimes the things that are being required and asked of us aren't necessarily easily done. We need to find those ways as much as possible to do them and set expectations along the way. And that can be definitely a unique balance. So what about you? Have you managed basically a champagne event on a beer budget? How did you make that work? Is that definitely a lot of pressure on you? And if that is something that's a lot of pressure on you, you might want to just continue to listen to some of these other warning signs and see if event planning is your thing or perhaps not. The second one I have for you is that you're unable to pay attention to detail. Now, event management has so much detail. Events are succeeding on the details alone. There's so much to manage. There is a breakout session, menus, audiovisual, signage. Any small missing item that is in your event can create ripple effects for hundreds of people for a lot of people. And so if you're easily distracted or you may not like checklists or you somehow not necessarily are able to handle the details, sometimes the role of being an event manager is going to frustrate you. So, for example, maybe you miss one breakout room sign and people aren't able to get to the breakout because they have no clue where it is. But then that caused attendee confusion and no one knew where to go. It can definitely be a simple mistake that often is missed, but having multiple details compounded on top of that, layers of details, is something that the event managers are very used to doing. So if you're a person that really doesn't want to manage all of those details, that might be something that you might want to pay attention to. So what if you are a person that doesn't really do really well to detail? What can you do in order to help level up your detail game? Well, I would just say just use checklists. Help yourself with using project management tools. There's so many tools out there. You have Monday, you have Asana, and I would just say create timelines for your event. Know what those key milestones are along your critical path of your meeting, and then triple check those timelines all of the time and make sure, like we were talking about before, that your clients and your customers definitely are aligned with whatever those expectations are. That's going to help you to continue to pay more attention to detail. Use those checklists as much as possible, and you'll find soon that you'll develop a muscle that is going to help you be so much better at detail as the days goes on. So if details aren't your thing, you can definitely get better by using checklists, project management tools, and continuing to follow up with yourself and keep yourself accountable. All right. So the next one I have for you is that if you aren't a numbers person, then the industry might be a little bit challenging for you because it's all about numbers. Many times we think that it's all about just making sure we have pretty linens or, setting up the events and working with awesome speakers. Although event management can be that and planning events can be certainly exciting, there is this number and budgeting aspect to it that a lot of people don't necessarily know about when they're coming in, or they forget about it and don't necessarily expect that we have to do so much budgeting around our events that it can seem frustrating when we get to that part in our budget, in our planning process. So let's face it, just budgeting can be hard, and if you don't have it in your line of sight, it can get frustrating for sure. So for event management, but budget is constant. We have to work on initial budgets. We have to continue to keep an eye on our budgets and update them as things change. If 10 people show up, then that's going to affect things like your airfare. It's going to affect perhaps your food and beverage. It's going to affect all these other things that are on your budget. So you need to keep up with those things, and it is constant. With so many details coming in, all of the different decisions that are made can impact your budget. So knowing your numbers and actually enjoying managing that process is really going to help you further along in event planning. It's going to help bring more of a joy to your work because you are kind of eager to make sure that you're working things out for your client and for that final budget at the end. So every choice, like I said, ties back to numbers. So it can be your meal, it can be decor, it can be travel, it can be staffing, it can be surcharges, and all of these types of numbers, all of these things have numbers associated with them. So planners who really resist those budgets, they often risk losing credibility with their customers and with their partners because they are not necessarily keeping track of it. And then those partners, those customers really rely on them to be the person to own that budget, to own how that event is going to be managed and the decisions that are being made, helping hold the planning committee accountable to the decisions because you have a close eye on the budget. So again, if you're someone that resists budgets, that might be something that you will have to take a look at. Okay, so what do you do? What do you do for a person that just doesn't like numbers? I would just say, let's treat your budget like it's your creative partner, not necessarily a burden. Because once you treat it like a burden, then everything flows down from there. Whenever you have an opportunity to work on your budget, then instead of an opportunity, it's a have to, right? Let's think of it like, oh, I get to work on my budget today to see where I'm at. Or let me see how creative I can be with my numbers to find an opportunity for my client within the budget. Those are the type of thoughts we want to have around our budget, instead of saying, oh my gosh, it's a burden. Oh, I resist working on it. I know it's really tough, but definitely you have to think like this and really start to stretch yourself in order to say, to really have a budget be something that you continue to really enjoy doing as you're in this industry. So again, that is another warning sign. If you absolutely resist it and you're always ignoring the budget and you're spending more on decor, you might want to rethink that, because budgets are so important and numbers are very important to being an event planner. All right, so I'm going to check in with you. Let me know what you think about budgeting. Do you really enjoy it? Don't you? Do you need to figure out kind of where you feel about your budget? Let me know where you are. I would love to hear a little bit more. And I'm just checking just to make sure that we don't have any questions. All right, so my fourth one, and this is the fourth warning sign that event planning isn't for you, is you struggle with long hours and you struggle with weekends. So events, they don't follow a 9 to 5 schedule, right? We all want that 9 to 5 life. However, when you're planning and managing events, that doesn't always happen. Many times with event management and event planning, we are prepping on the weekends. We are working late nights. We are doing a lot of travel days. And you are going to have to be super flexible and allow your schedule to really bend and flex and move with the events that you're planning. Keeping some type of harmony to your schedule is going to be important. I know that many of you possibly have different lifestyle things that you do, or perhaps you have families that you would need to attend to. But if you are in event management, you will have to learn how to ebb and flow with all of those things. And if you have your lifestyle or your responsibilities at home that can't flex, that's going to possibly put a lot of strain on you as an event planner. So I would just say, make sure that your expectations are aligned with your employer when they need you to be on events or not, or traveling to events or not. Make sure that you have boundaries in the area where you absolutely need them. And then make sure that you are able to do some flexibility if you can. Many times, most of the event planning roles, we know that it's going to require a lot of travel. It's going to require a lot of flexibility and moving about before we even get into the role. So obviously we want to be respectful of that, but then also be able to balance what's happening in our home life if we can as well. So this is a hard one, because I know a lot of people really love to plan in events, but it does come with long hours and it does come with weekends. Typically when you are traveling, depending on your event and your schedule, a lot of social events occur on the weekends. When you think about it, when you get a wedding or when you get invited to any kind of event personally from your friends, from your family, it might occur on the weekends. And if it's a work thing, or if it's aligned to maybe like a conference or a training, it's typically during the week. But if you are an event manager, then you possibly will have to fly out a day or two before the event. And even if you're local, you still have to worry about doing any kind of, site visits and things like that. So those things may occur in outside of your work schedule. So definitely be mindful of that. So what do you do? What do you do if you struggle with long hours and weekends, but you still want to be in event planning? What I say is just plan recovery days. Depending on what your work schedule is, make sure that you plan some days to recover after your event. And it's so helpful if you do this. Maybe do an afternoon after an event or a full day. And then again, communicate your expectations not only with your employer, but also communicate them with your family as well. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing a lot of long hours and weekends and you're building that business, then I also would say that you plan those recovery days, plan ahead as much as possible so that things are continuing to operate in the background while you are taking some well deserved time off. All right. The fifth thing, number five, the fifth warning sign that event planning may not be for you is that travel is not your thing. I just talked about travel and how travel can really kind of go in with the long hours and weekends. But if you definitely are not a person who likes to get on a plane and travel the world and see new things and just be out and about traveling, then event management may not be for you because it does, in some cases, require travel. So even local jobs are involving movement. You have site visits, you have meetings with your vendors and partners, you have on-site supervision that you would need to do, and all of those things might take place locally, even if it's down the street, that's you leaving your job, going somewhere else in order to do some travel. But many planners are traveling outside of their state or they're driving long distances in order to make these events happen. If you prefer stability, then this lifestyle could be challenging for you because most of the times people don't always have their events in one place. They're traveling, they're doing their events in different locations. Sometimes those locations can take us globally, and that's a whole other set of expectations. So, making sure that you know what that travel looks like for a role that you want to get into event planning is really key. Are they working on local events, global events? Do they travel? Where do they travel? How many times they travel? Those are all questions that you can ask. And if home commitments are limiting your flexibility, again, discuss your travel expectations early with your employers. There have been so many planners that because they are raising families at home, they're not able to hit the road all of the time. And I have friends that are on the road pretty much back to back. I just had one friend today that posted that, oh, I think he packed for uh, for events. So it can be really that intense. So make sure that you are aware of how intense it can be, and then make sure that you're adjusting and making all of those amends and that expectation setting with your employer, and then also with your family or anyone else personally that you would need to do that. Your support system, because people at home support you. So definitely that is something that you want to do. Plan your support system early so that it's not a surprise that you have to go and attend to an event. And if it is a surprise, that those surprises are, less often. All right, great. So what do you tell me? Do you love to travel? I certainly do. It's one of the things that I absolutely love about this industry is traveling and meeting new people and also just experiencing new places. That can be an absolute benefit of the industry. So if travel isn't your thing, you might want to just see what you can do about that. You might want to just see if travel is something that you can probably work into your schedule. All right, so we're down to the last few, and the next one is a lack of boundaries. Okay, so lack of boundaries is absolutely a warning sign of event planning may not being for you. And this is a area that a lot of event managers struggle a lot. It can be definitely hard because we are absolutely here to serve. We're here to make sure that all of our customers and our clients are able to get their needs met, that we're planning an amazing experiences, that we're going the extra mile to make sure that they get everything that they want. We are doing all of that plus some, But even though we're doing all of that plus some, there needs to be some boundaries. Otherwise, there can be a lot of struggle out here, and people pleasers are tend to struggle in this area. So if we are people that love to say yes to this and yes to that, we are always saying yes, and that saying yes can lead us directly into exhaustion. So not speaking up and not delegating can turn this dream career of yours into burnout. And I've seen so many people just head right out and say they want to work at Starbucks just because they are not able to say no, and they're not able to delegate, and not able to really manage that lack of boundaries. It's sad to say. And sometimes maybe some of the other things on this list get a little bit too much, so then unfortunately they're not able to keep up in this particular industry, and they struggle, they go into burnout, and then they're off to something that's a little bit more tame for them. Well, I don't want that to be you. And so boundaries really protect you. They protect your creativity. They protect your sanity while you're working in this industry. This industry can be amazing. It can be exciting. It is certainly fast paced. But if you're not able to also balance that with protecting yourself, it can definitely be a struggle. So saying yes to every client demand is where your burnout is going to hit. And so you need to have a little bit more boundaries. And I did have a video that I talked about boundaries. You can, it's probably right, the one that I did right before this one, or I'll try to link it down below. Make sure you definitely are knowing what boundaries to set with your customers, with your family, even, and with those that you work with. Now, what to do? Other than getting boundaries, I would say it's just practice saying, well, let me check. Let me check to see what's realistic for me. Instead of saying yes all the time, just say, well, let me check on that for you. Let me see if that's something that I can do, and I will get right back to you. Just double check yourself, and then you can go back and really filter it through if you're really able to do that thing. And then you're able to then make a decision and come back and basically say yes or no or whatever. I would just say if you're unable to do something for any customer or client, make sure that there's some type of other resolution or solution that you can also offer them. That just shows them that you're able to kind of meet halfway. But again, if you're someone that's like looking into this industry and you know that you're a people pleaser and you love just doing it all, it could be something that can be a early warning sign that could lead you into burnout. So we definitely want to make sure that we're being mindful. Couldn't find my words. We're being mindful of our lack of boundaries. All right. So how are you doing out here? Let me see if there are any questions. Are you vibing with this? Do you really enjoy hearing about some of these things that are not are warning signs for you coming into the event management world? Or perhaps you're in the event management world and you're saying, oh my goodness, yes, 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 and yes, I do not like those things anymore. And because I do not like those things, then maybe I need to look at something else. Regardless of where you are, this is all meant to help and support you. Go ahead and put in the chat. I would love to just hear where you are. All right, the seventh tip or warning sign on why event management isn't for you is that you perhaps thrive in isolation. Yes, a lot of us can be introverts in this industry. We love to kind of be in the nooks and crannies. We like to be in the back of the house and let everybody kind of shine and thrive for their event. But if we thrive too much in isolation, it can really limit collaboration. Yep. So isolation can limit collaboration. And so communication is constant in event planning. We're always emailing our partners to see how they can help and support us, and with details. We also are communicating with our staff and with our teamwork. All of that communication is what drives success, but it also is what can really send a meeting into turmoil. So we want to make sure that we are able to communicate with everyone, and that we're okay to communicate, and we're okay to put ourselves out there, ask the questions that need to be asked so that our customers and our clients are able to have the event that they need and that they want. Poor coordination and communication is only going to create chaos, my friends. It's not going to create excellence. So if you are just working in isolation and you don't really like to talk to people, that may not work for the success of your events. So make sure that you are doing that. And there are times where people can have like poor vendor communication. They're not letting vendors know when what things are missing or the right details. Therefore, that partner is not able to provide what they needed to provide. I know there was an example of a person that I was talking to. She is a really prominent person in her audiovisual company. Let's just say that, and she was just talking about how one of the people that she was working with, one of the planners that she was working with, provided her a set of details on a call, but then unfortunately, when she got the full RFP, the details didn't line up. And that could have been a mishap for her company because she possibly could have quoted them the wrong thing, which would have led to a missed opportunity in business. So, again, this is just an example of how communication is very important, and to make sure that you're being excellent in your communication and not necessarily keeping those details to yourself in order to just keeping your details to yourself and not necessarily giving everybody what they need. And in this case, it was collaboration. So what do you do? Again, invest in communication. Relationships are going to be your lifeline in this industry, whether it's for networking, whether it's for just communicating in order to make an event come together. It definitely is your lifeline, and how you interact with different people in the industry, it can make an impact. So make sure it's a good one. All right. So the last thing I have for you is the last warning sign. So we're down to the last warning sign already. I feel like it's gone really fast, like a very, really quick live stream. But again, if there's any questions that you have, feel free to go ahead and put them in the comments. I would love to connect, and I would love to give some guidance and really help you with anything that you need. The very last warning sign is the struggle to keep up with the fast pace. I mentioned before that the pace in the event industry can be relentless. There are decisions that happen that change daily and often even hourly that you would have to keep track of. And many times, if you're not keeping track of them, somebody is and will call you on it. So we need to have resilience, and you need to be flexible and really focus to thrive in this constantly moving environment. So if you are someone that doesn't necessarily like a fast pace, then you will have to look into if your current role or if the role you're going into is one that's for you. Because if fast moving environments are stressing you out, it may not be the best fit. Even if you were to have, let's say, a event planning role that doesn't have as many events that you're managing, that might be a little bit more ease when it comes to their planning window. Many times, even if you have that, the week or the couple weeks of your event is going to be fast paced. Details are coming in at the last minute. You're changing things and updating documents and getting things ready to go. It's fast paced in that respect too. So whether you have one event that you're managing a year, or even if you're having like multiple events that you're doing in a year, this event industry can definitely be fast paced. So what should you do? I would say build resilience. Build resilience in this fast paced industry. Definitely stay organized. Organization is going to be the pathway to no frustrations. So we want to make sure that when you're organized, you can reference things quicker. When you're organized, you know how to add on, especially if there's a venue if there's like a last minute change at a venue and you need to update the schedule right away, you know where to go for it and you know how to communicate it out to others very quickly. Those are things that are going to be very important to you. Your resources, the tools that you use are going to be helpful to you when making sure that you can stay on top of the pace of the industry. So I would just, again, be resilient, stay organized, and then remember, flexibility is going to be your superpower. Finding out how you can be nimble with the decisions that come your way, or with the things that you have to do and create and come your way is going to be your superpower. So the more you get in and you jump in and you just try to, go with the flow of the industry, you're able to then build up, let's say, your toolkit of things you know how to do if something came across your path that you needed to do a quick pivot. You would know how to bend and flex and move as needed in order to make that event successful. So those are my eight. Those are my eight warning signs that event planning, it may not be for you. It doesn't mean that you have to quit the industry, but it could mean that you can grow. You can grow into some of these areas with some of those key area things of what to do in each of these areas that can really help you to shine and help you build muscle in the places that you feel a little bit less lean, right? So I just want to say every event planner starts somewhere, and awareness is going to be your first step to building a sustainable, fulfilling career. And if and I'm excited for you. I'm excited that you're actually looking into this industry and that you're in this industry and that you're doing everything you can do to stay in this industry. And I think that if you've made it to the very end of this video, that is what you're here to do. You're here to make sure that you can stay in this industry, that you can be flexible, that you can bring what you can bring to the table in order to show up and be an effective partner and be an event professional that has these wonderful superpowers, right? So if you're serious on thriving in this industry, I would just say, hey, hit subscribe and check out my other videos that I have on boundaries and on burnout. I'm here for you. It's been great, and I look forward to seeing you in the next live stream. Have a good one and stay on purpose.